Everybody, welcome back to the Hotel Monaco.
The Monaco.
The Monaco, here we go. So one of the things, Dan, we see in sales a lot is I've come across a lot of people over the years, they need everything perfect in their eyes before they get going. We talk about dotting I's, crossing T's, and one of the big things we talk about here at PT is get to about 80% of the way, and then you need to implement. You need to get going, you need to learn from what you have to get further down the line. Otherwise, you're just never going to get started. You're never going to see results. And you're always going to kind of sit back and say, well, we've been talking about doing that for years, but it never really got going. So can you talk about that mentality a little bit and the idea of, hey, get it far enough down the road and then implement and figure out the rest as you go?
If everything had to be perfect, nobody would ever get married, nobody would have kids, you'd never go to school, you'd never get a job. It just kills you.
Yep.
All right, so let's deal with one of the solutions, and then let me ask you a couple questions.
Sure.
Establish a deadline.
Okay.
I will do A by this date, and it's interesting when you put a deadline, it gets things happening.
come together.
So, question for you: if you put a deadline, what happens leading up to that deadline?
Well, lots of things. Some people get anxious, uncomfortable, but activity starts to happen.
Bingo.
Movement.
Bingo. Then the deadline hits, and you give your report or whatever.
Yep.
What do we do after the deadline's over about what we just did?
Hopefully, implement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. One of the other things that happens is we think about, well, what could I have done to improve?
Yes.
You know, as an actor, when opening night comes, it's like, oh, you're all excited it's opening night, but then it's like, oh man, but I wish we had another week. We could do so much more, right? So here's the key. The goal in doing things isn't perfection, it's accomplishment.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of deep. I think I just made that up.
There you go.
The goal
There
is
you go.
not perfection, it's accomplishment. And when we look at how do we get started on things, let's start with the issue. The issue is procrastination.
Yes.
And John, I will lay out that I think procrastination is due to three things: fear,
Okay.
laziness, stupidity. Those are my three things.
Okay.
And I think in the world of sales, it's usually fear.
Fear of failure or fear of the doing? Or both? Both.
Yeah.
Okay.
And fear of success is huge as well.
That's true.
It's just,
Yeah.
I'm so afraid that I'm going to mess up. I'm so afraid that the prospect's going to say something that I don't know the answer.
Sure.
I'm so afraid of fill in the blank.
Yes.
And sometimes all you really just need to do is just start. Just
Yes.
do it. See
Yep.
what happens.
Yeah, the other thing I think about too is almost flipping the roles for a moment. So think about the people you sell to, and do you ask them to get to 100% comfort and commitment before they implement? Or do you ask them to take a little bit of a leap of faith and let the rest play out as you go? It's exactly what you do, but when it comes to implementing our own behaviors, we want perfection before it goes.
That is a delicious point, John. Oh, that was kind of cool. But it is, because think about people using PT, right? You can give them all the case studies.
Yep.
You can tell them how great you've been for everybody else, but at the
Yes.
end of the day, they just want to know, is it going to work for me?
Yes.
And sometimes the only way to really know that
Is to go.
you just got to do it.
Yeah, and we tell people, hey, there's an element of just a leap of faith here. We can do lots of things, but you're never going to have a full understanding of what it's like until you say go.
Again, we don't know the answers. We don't know the end of the story from marriages or having kids or going to school or getting a job. You just have to do it.
Moral of the story, take action and go.
Bingo.
Implement. Yep.
Love it.
There we go. See you again tomorrow.
Take care.